And we are back. And I know we said we were going to talk Dark Tower in this segment. And then I was really quickly informed that I would not be able to read any of the Dark Tower series within that small break we just took. So I actually have no idea. I've never read the Dark Tower series.
Have you ever read a book?
That's a great question. What does Alex the Preparation Lee read?
How many actual novels have you read in your life?
Sea Spot Run.
Yeah. Clifford's Sad Vacation.
No, don't. That's eclectic.
He was telling me earlier how much he loved the novelization of Heroes. Mm-hmm. Charlie's Story.
Charlie's Story, yeah.
It's actually just Hayden Panettiere's Maxim appearance.
I thought it was that one thing where she was trying to save the dolphins that you watch on repeat.
Who gets that one?
That was awesome.
Who gets that one? So I have no idea what we're talking about, so I'm going to defer to the experts. One who we invited, Teah, is still hanging out with us.
Yay!
Alex didn't run her off.
No, I tried.
He tried hard.
I tried real hard. But I'm going to deflect y'all, and I'm going to just kind of jump in here. Now, it's a Stephen King novel, right?
Yes,
Novel.
it is.
Novel.
It's multiple.
There's more than one?
7. 8.
Eight.
There's 8.
8 in a short story. 8.5.
8.25.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
No way. No way.
Trust me, the
who
time
has that much
disappears.
time to read?
It just gone.
Oh my god.
So, I've read a Stephen King novelization.
Which one?
Actually, I just watched The Fog with closed captions on.
The Fog with closed captions.
Is that it was Mist?
The Mist.
Mist.
The Fog
Fog.
is
Good
the Fog
try.
is different. No.
Different movie?
Yeah, different movie.
No, full disclosure, I actually did read The Shining when I was in high school.
Oh, okay. Good
So
for you.
I read
I
that.
haven't done that one.
You-
Really?
oh.
Wow.
Wow, this is going to be great.
No, that's gonna be hilarious. But I just
Yeah, lay it on us,
yeah,
man.
come on, he's-
no.
So
The
excited.
last book I actually read was a comic book to novelization.
What was it?
It was the Walking Dead spinoff, The Rise of the
Oh.
Governor, and that
Okay.
wasn't a bad book, especially for that series. So
Oh, you just proved yourself wrong. Thank you. I mean, that's a rarity.
it's between two segments. Nobody's ever gonna remember segment one. I'm safe.
He was prepared for this one.
Yeah, he's prepared to set himself up to fail.
Okay, so I'm going to jump in here and try to give a little bit of background or overview, and you guys jump in to help me out where I'm leaving some stuff out if there's something that needs to be happening. So, The Dark Tower is Stephen King's magnum opus work, and it is across 8, like we said, 8 novels and a short story, but it started in the mid-70s, and there were 3 novels that were produced back then in that time. And then there was a very long period of time where all these fans who were introduced to this place had to wait for other books to come out.
I think 20 years.
Almost 2
I
decades,
think, yeah.
Before
Yeah, it
he
was pretty
picked up
close
and
before Wizard and Glass came out.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the mythos or the universe is this. There is a central world, a nexus point world, or like a I don't know. Like
This is already
Plane?
confusing.
it is kind of like a plane of existence that is like the prime plane. You get the impression it's maybe the oldest, but it's like
Earth 616, Alex. There you go.
it's like yes, okay, so you're right. There's
Yeah,
like
basically that, yeah.
a Dark Tower version of 616 where Roland Deschain of Gilead, he of the line of the L. As we go into all these different things.
Is he like Spider-Man?
Arthur Eld. He's the descendant of Arthur Eld. King Arthur.
Okay, let's just kind of. Oh, okay, there you go. Thank you. You gotta
Yeah,
So
keep
we're
it
getting
simple,
there.
guys.
We're
Keep it
getting there.
simple.
He's kind of like a knight meets a cowboy, and in a world that has gone super future style. They use the term it has moved on.
So we call this East of West nowadays, guys.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
that's a really good.
Post-apocalyptic almost, yeah.
Or I kind of sometimes I think like Fallout 3
Yeah.
almost.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Not
But picture Fallout 3, but instead of being stuck in the 1950s, being stuck in like the 1870s.
but
Okay.
with
Cowboys.
weird super future machinery still
Yeah.
there. But it's like relics. The machinery is there, but it's extremely old, and they
It's
refer to it
older
as
than
being-
the time period. Like,
right. It's like a previous age, and they refer to it
It's
as
like the world ended, and then civilization built back up and is ending again.
yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Oh wow, super. Here's a nerd thing. Like Trigun. Anybody ever watch Trigun?
Kinda, yeah. All right,
Okay.
Yeah, I can go with that.
I think that
The influence is obviously spreading out into these other series.
yeah.
That's-
See, like once you read the Dark Tower,
I'm
and
glad I
kinda
could bring
clue
this
into
to the listeners.
Yeah, no.
you can kind of feel like all these different things that are a nod to it almost, and then if you might, if you're a fan and you think you see something that kind of has an homage to the Dark Tower, go look for interviews because it probably does. But Mark, give me something else, man. I feel like I'm leaving it a little weak.
So this is the main point of this is the journey of the gunslinger of Roland on his way to the Dark Tower. He is trying to get through Midworld to get to the Dark Tower.
So it's like Lord of the Rings.
Well, the
a little bit.
Kind of.
But the Dark Tower, don't think the Dark Tower is Mount Doom. Think of the Dark Tower as the center point of existence.
It's the nexus of all realities.
Okay, so
existentially, it's the search for God.
There you go. All right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for don't touch the bell.
Yeah, there was no phrasing to that.
Okay. No, that was the sound effect of illuminated minds, man.
Oh, there you go. That's better.
All right, keep talking.
Yeah, so, he's having to go forth. He's as he's moving along, he draws in 3 different people into him from
different times and realities
in New York.
And different New Yorks, even not always the same New York. It's various, almost parallel New Yorks.
They kind of refer to them as levels of the tower.
Yeah.
When they try to differentiate the different dimensional rifts. So like you've got like 616 New York, and then you could have Ultimate Universe New York, and then you could have Elseworld New York.
And these 3 characters come from those 3 different New Yorks. So
these are individual characters who he said brings into him. He doesn't absorb them or anything.
No. He literally pulls them out of their universe.
Yeah. He takes them from their universe and brings them to his world.
So the storyline.
There we go. That's all we need. Keeping it simple. Okay.
All right.
So now he has 3 buddies.
Yep.
And he's on his way to a tower.
That's right.
And it's the center of existence. It's the middle of the universe.
But it's the universe is crumbling.
Yes,
and that's part of the quest is the fact that everything's falling to crap, and he's trying to get to the tower, not necessarily thinking that he can fix it, but to hold palaver, as he calls it, with the god at the top of the tower.
So he wants to sit down, have a little chit chat,
figure out what's up.
Say okay.
Yo, Buddy Crash, what's going on?
It's interesting because he does kind of run the character gamut of like a very embattled and very veteran knight as he's going through all these different stories, but he's a hard hero to really like. I don't know, Stephen King writes him in such a tough way, like a very.
He's a hard romantic. Is the way I've always thought of him. Like he is absolutely your warrior. Your almost if you watch Game of Thrones, he's like the knight who left and went and served Daenerys.
Yeah,
I forget his name.
Daenerys.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to correct you.
No,
Bran. Bran's the son.
My wife is killing me right now.
Yeah, there's people screaming.
I'm screaming at myself because I know this.
So,
but
Bandit Ras, no.
It's not Beric Dondarrion. I know that. Like that's not the right one. Barristan Selmy. It's
Hodor.
Barristan Selmy.
It's Hodor.
You're always right.
He's definitely got that facade of like he's a hardened warrior and he knows what's up. But very clearly, he was also a romantic. Like he longs for the nicer things and he wishes for the better times. But he is cold and calculated in what he has to do to get the job done.
Yeah, he will go through anything to get to the tower.
Mm-hmm. So you're telling me that this journey with him and his 3 buddies on the way to this tower, it's not just like a leisurely stroll. He has conflicts along the way of some sort, like crosswalks and heavy traffic.
Yes.
Like what's going on? Talk about a little bit about.
There's a central character. I think another way to sort of describe what's going on here is Stephen King has even said it, I believe, that he considers his Dark Tower works almost the spinal column of all of his works because he pulls in, there's characters from other books that feature heavily, sometimes lightly, other times in the Dark Tower that have a presence. So
let me give you an example of that real quick.
Yeah.
So so the people who have come together for this purpose of this quest are referred to in the book as a quartet. Right, we'll get to that in a minute.
You're making up words.
It's a group. They're called a quartet. But
is that like a quartet? But with like they know like kung fu katas. Sorry.
So as they're
Your
going,
references are out of.
Sorry.
as they're going along, they switch dimensions, and when they pop out into the next place, they're in Kansas, and they're walking down the streets, and they're seeing headlines on newspapers that say Captain Trips, which is an Easter egg for The Stand. Mm-hmm. There's also some Easter eggs from Randall Flagg or the Walking Dude, also a reference to The Stand.
Who is all one central character that is Roland's nemesis for the entire series.
Like archetype villain of almost every Stephen King book you could.
And he
Once you
is.
get all the way through all the Dark Tower stuff, you'll start seeing it in every other book, even The Shining. Even
He's the bartender in The Shining.
He's connected to it.
Yeah. Actually, that's a probably
good
dead
one.
on what.
Yeah, this guy read a book in high school 10 years ago.
So this is the Man in Black, right? So the very first book starts out with the Man in Black cross the desert and the gunslinger follows. That guy has like a superior, and that superior is referenced in many, many, many other Stephen King books. He's known as the Crimson King. Who's like the nth level chaotic evil bad guy in all of the realms. Like you could say he's what powered Pennywise.
Okay.
That kind of a thing.
Yeah, because Pennywise shows up. So
No.
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
as Pennywise.
Like
Tim Curry shows up?
No, not Tim Curry.
You can imagine it
There's
that
the
way.
God we need. Yes.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Basically, the creature that Pennywise actually is in reality, not the clown facade he uses, but the actual.
But the
creature.
beast underneath. Yeah.
So you're telling me the gunslinger never walks by a rain gutter? Hey, what's up? I like your guns.
float down here.
No, but it's honestly when I didn't want when I was reading Stephen King, I didn't want to read the Dark Tower series. I read around it, and I read Insomnia, and I read this It, and I read The Stand, and I had so many of my friends going, if you like those books, and I was expressing to them that you can tell that you're getting some of the story with these bad guys or with these characters, but there's more to it that the book just doesn't. I mean, you can sort of tell when an author does that, and they're like, well, if you want to know the story, read the Dark Tower. And I was like, oh, whatever. He's a horror writer. He's not actually a fan. I'm not gonna do it. That's stupid. I'm sure it's terrible. Like, and it took like 4 or 5 friends of mine to convince me to finally read it. And it fleshes out everything he does. Not that anything that Stephen King does is one-dimensional, but
Right.
the Dark Tower gives it more form. It rounds everything out. It gives it more meaning.
So if we've taken anything away from this, Teah is not one to fall to peer pressure.
It takes a long time.
Yeah. I'm not jumping off that bridge. No. All right.
So okay,
Well,
so
there really is candy down
the tower. I'm going to try and lay out some characters here real quick, a little bit of a framework. I hope it's not too spoilery. We can edit it out if it is or whatever. Oh yeah, these things have been out forever.
Yeah,
Screw you guys.
yeah.
Okay.
Screw me?
Yes,
Yes.
you.
Nice.
Nice. Okay, so you've got the Crimson King, who is his purpose in existence is to try to take down the Dark Tower, which is we reference as the nexus of all reality. He uses all these nefarious and magical and scientific means to do that. Roland isn't necessarily trying to defy the Crimson King as he's getting along the path of the beam to the tower, and I'll just leave that there. But
He's
they
just
are
trying-
very much antitheses of each other. They're kind of like the opposite ends of the spectrum. And gosh, man, we could go super deep with that and go, he's kind of like a hands-off god, but he wants to get someplace.
So
Well, it's
Harry
the red
Potter
and the white.
Voldemort.
So
Right, the
the
red
Crimson
and the
King
white.
is very clearly trying to destroy the tower. It's his intent.
Right.
And Roland is doing his best to protect the tower and protect the people that are still within the realm. Not necessarily in like a tights and cape sort of way. He's not going around saving babies from burning buildings.
That's true. He lets a lot of
But,
stuff go down in his wake.
He really does. But it's
blows away a town.
more a quest for him just to get to the tower. Because he knows that getting there, and with his heritage and what he's capable of and what he's done in the past, he knows that getting there is the battle. Like once he's there, something is going to happen. There's a linchpin. It never very clearly says that he's going to fix things, or he's going to make the god fix things, or he's even going to
Right.
get answers. It's the quest to the tower, and the Crimson King is really just trying to destroy the tower. He would
So-
rule at the top of it, if you will.
I mean, they define an end game for the Crimson King in destroying the tower. Did they actually talk about that actually having any levity or benefit for the Crimson King, or is it just kind of a chaos versus order thing?
Okay, so as
Without- obviously
it
you can't
ties
give
into
a spoiler.
everything in Stephen King, right? So there are points in time, literally, in Stephen King's career where the Crimson King, the Crimson King seems to have an actual plan. He's going from point A to point Z, right? But as the stories progress, he just is crazy. He's a prisoner to the struggle almost. So it's weird. It depends on where you're reading because
So is this all a giant metaphor for Stephen King and having to keep writing
Very
his damn
clearly,
books?
yes.
No,
Actually,
yeah, actually,
it
yes.
is. He write. I mean, in books 6 and 7, I think he writes him. Maybe it's just 7. He writes himself into the story as the writer, and it's like he.
it's
it goes
everybody
to a
kind of
weird-
It does,
that way.
and it's.
Well, last time-
I'll admit that I found it to be ham-handed, like a little bit. I mean, it was
Yeah.
necessary. It
I
absolutely.
mean,
was
it's not
necessary.
exactly season 3 of Supernatural where they bring in the prophet or anything, but
No,
it's,
yeah,
It was kind of heavy.
Well,
well,
Last
hey,
time-
what was that? What was that Stephen King book where it was actually about a writer dealing with a character he created? And there was a movie in like the mid '90s.
With Kathy Bates, and it was.
Well,
where-
no, that's Misery.
No, you're thinking of Secret Window.
It's like, yes,
Yeah.
that's the one. Secret Window. That was a book that was written around this concept of a writer meeting the character or the creations that he.
Well,
Stevie,
Palahniuk
Johnny
did
Depp.
that
Johnny
too.
Depp was in that movie, wasn't he?
Palahniuk did
Yeah.
that too. A Stranger
That wasn't
Than
90s.
Fiction.
I
Yes.
think.
Yeah.
Stranger in Fiction. Yeah,
So it's
definitely
not too far of a stretch to see something like that happening, and with this dude's magnum opus and the way that everything ties in, which segues us actually to talking about Robin Firth. So we've been talking about this massive universe, right? So to kind of recap that, Stephen King has 56 novels. He's got 6 nonfiction novels. I should probably specify that. He's got 56 fiction novels, 6 nonfiction novels, nearly 200 short stories, and they're all tied into the Dark Tower series. So as he was going through the process of creating the Dark Tower in the first place, he had an assistant who would keep all these nitty-gritty details, all the things that fans would kind of think, oh, was that a nod? She knows for sure. Her name is Robin Firth. She compiled the companion series that goes along with the Dark Tower. But in my opinion, as importantly, she's also responsible for writing the Marvel Comics stories that have been coming out over the last 3 years.
Okay, so and I've stopped and gotten about 6 pages into one of them, and the story was too confusing with Jay Lee's art, and I
Well,
got confused.
I think by necessity it can be that way. Here's the thing: when you pick up a gunslinger book, there's
Okay.
going to be 3 or 4 pages in the back that are text. That text is the mythos of the world that you're in that you didn't get to read about by reading the novels, right? So she has to provide it to you in this kind of last 3 or 4 pages of the book kind of a way. So as you're reading it, if you have no exposure to the universe, it can be confusing.
Okay, so how are we doing on time on this? Do
We got like another minute.
All right, so let's kind of wrap up.
Well-
This portion will come back after the break. We'll kind of wrap this up because we got to segue into the next steps of it. I mean, if
Well,
we're
I mean,
not done,
this is the point. This is the jump to the next segment. This because Robin Firth writes the compendium, who gets the comics going, and we're going to talk about the comics, how they're different from the actual novels themselves, and what it means to see or be part of a story that's on a separate level of the tower.
groovy. I'm going to pretend I understand all of that, and I hope you do too. Stick around. I will be asking the hard questions when we come back from break. So hang out, and we'll be right back.